Welcome to Broncos and Parts Garage. My name's Chris. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, or wait till the end of the video to see additional links to other videos I've created. If you're already a subscriber, thanks a lot, and I look forward to your comments on the video. Today we're going to be going over the removal of the instrument cluster bezel in the 1992 through 1996 Ford Broncos. The same techniques will apply to the 92 through 96 F-Series trucks, as well as the 92 through 97 F250 and F350s. Let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is a flathead screwdriver, or actually you could use a butter knife. You want to go slow and take your time because this is very old and brittle plastic. You don't want to crack it by prying stuff too hard. The first thing we're going to do is remove your headlight switch right here. It's held down with a small spring clip. You'll pull the headlight switch out. You'll take your screwdriver, put it down. There should be a slot on the top or bottom. You press the slot, press the screwdriver into the slot, push, and your headlight switch pops right off. The second step would be the removal of the horizontal trim pieces. There are two of them. There's one on the left side of your steering wheel and one on the right side of your steering wheel. They're held in with two metal and plastic clips. You'll want to take your screwdriver again, gently put it in between the plastic, and pry out. You can hear the clip pop. Do the same thing to the other side, about an inch away. When it pops off, you'll see two metal clips and the plastic braces that hold it in place, and just set these aside. The next step will be removing the right side horizontal trim piece. We're removing the right and left side trim pieces to expose the screw pockets that mechanically attach the bezel to the dash with two screws. A lot of times people will neglect to take these trim pieces off, or they don't know they're there. They'll pull on the dash, bust those out. The other video I have about dash bezel repair covers repairing these two pockets. So let's get started. We'll take our screwdriver, again, I'll go about 1.5 inches in, pry out, go to the other side about 1.5 inches from the edge, and pry that one out as well. The piece will pop out and you'll see the two spring clips are still intact. There should be a plastic tab with a metal spring over the top of it. This next step is unrelated to the dash bezel removal, but I'll give you a brief instruction on how to remove the third piece of horizontal dash trim. And it's the same technique. You're going to take your flathead screwdriver, gently pry it in there, and pop out each one of those clips. Take your time. Again, it's very fragile. It's brittle plastic. And you just walk it down the dash, popping it out, and you'll see all the clips are intact. These actually have a felt over them to keep them from squeaking. Because this trim removal was unrelated to the cluster bezel removal, I'm simply going to pop it back into place. It was for informative purposes only. You'll start by feeding the clips back into the holes in the dash, like this, and pressing them in as they snap in as you work your way down the dash. I'm using my 1996 Ford Bronco as the demonstration vehicle, and after removing the trim piece, I've noticed the screw holding it in place is missing. This is normally a 7mm nut head or a T20 Torx, or it could be a Phillips screwdriver bit. On the left side of the instrument cluster, behind the horizontal trim piece, is a Phillips screw head. This does not appear to be OEM, and I'm guessing someone has been inside this bezel in the past because it does not look factory. Either way, we'll take a number 2 Phillips screwdriver and remove that screw. Let's remove the screw. The next step would be lowering your steering wheel down. So you're going to need to place your keys in the ignition. I've disconnected the negative battery cable so I don't have to hear the dinging of the door alarm. You'll turn the key to release your brake interlock. Pull the gear shift lever down. Tilt the steering wheel down. And now you're ready to pull the bezel off the dash. Before you simply pull the bezel off the dash, there's just a few points I want to touch on. The first is there's 3 pins holding it in place in the top. You've removed the 2 screws in the horizontal trim pieces, and there's 2 more clips in the dash, these clips are very similar to the clips that hold in your horizontal trim pieces. When you pull the dash off, you want to pull straight back. You don't want to go on an angle, you don't want to go up and down. It has to be a decent, fluid, straight back motion to get the pins out. It is 25, 26-year-old plastic. You may break one of the pins, but again, that's why I have the other video on how to repair these after you've removed them. So let's begin now. One firm motion should release all of the clips at one time. When removing the rear window switch, you have two choices. You can either remove the harness from the back. It's got two clips. Again, you'd pry that out gently with two flathead screwdrivers, pop the harness off, or you can actually remove two Phillips screws on the back with a stubby screwdriver and actually remove the switch itself, leave it connected to the harness, and separate it from the actual bezel. You would do the same thing on your four-wheel drive push button switch on the right side.
This is what the back of the window switch looks like when it's still attached to your cluster bezel. The silver tabs need to be pried up and pried down on the bottom, and you should be able to release the harness from the switch.
To remove the four-wheel drive selector, you use two flathead screwdrivers. It seems to work the best for me. I'll wedge one behind one side of the clip, prying it out gently. Again, old plastic, take your time. I'll take another flathead screwdriver, put it behind the gray plastic, and pull, and the clip should slide right out, releasing the selector switch from the dash. The final step in removing the bezel is usually removing the gray clip on the back of the rear window switch. It's very hard to do, and it will usually result in you breaking the bosses that actually hold the window switch to the bezel. So I'm going to actually remove the switch from the bezel. There's two Phillips screws on the back. If you've ever wondered why your screwdriver kits come with this tiny stubby screwdriver, now you know. It'll get back there. I'll remove the two screws, releasing the switch from the bezel, and then I'll be able to lift the bezel right out. I'm not going to do that on camera because you won't be able to see it. I've removed the two Phillips screws from the back of the rear window switch. Now the bezel's ready to lift right out. And this subsequently is one of the ones I repaired in my previous video, and the JB Weld boss held up perfectly when I attached the switch and just unscrewed it. I hope you found the video informative. When it's time to reinstall the bezel, you'll just want to do the steps in the reverse order, starting with placing the instrument bezel back over the steering column. You'll want to make sure you attach both the switches. Make sure they click nice and tight. You don't want them coming loose after you've got everything back together. You'll line up the three top pins, and you'll line up your HVAC vents, and you'll firmly press the bezel back into the dash. Once you've got the bezel snapped back and attached to the dash, you'll install the two horizontal trim piece screws in the screw pockets. Then you'll snap on the two horizontal trim pieces on top. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe. And in the comments below, please let me know any other videos you'd like to see.